Hello and welcome to another standard video here in the preview event for the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy expansion. My supporters on Patreon voted for Sephiroth to be showcased, so today we're taking a look at a black-white sacrifice deck built around Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier, a 3-mana 3/3. When it enters or attacks, we may sacrifice another creature. If we do, draw a card. And whenever another creature dies, doesn't even have to be our own creature, so it's kind of like a Blood Artist, which also applies to opposing creatures dying. Target opponent loses 1 life, and we gain 1 life. If this is the 4th time this ability has resolved this turn, we get to transform Sephiroth into a 5/5 flying Sephiroth, 1-winged angel, which immediately makes an emblem with that same Blood Artist effect, draining the opponent for 1 whenever a creature dies. And whenever the 1-winged angel attacks, we can sacrifice any number of other creatures, and then we'll get to draw that many cards, enabling the emblem as well to drain the opponent to death. So this is a very powerful effect, assuming we can transform it. So to make sure that happens, we need a lot of sacrifice fodder, tiny creatures that ideally leave another creature behind when they die. So we have multiple bodies we can sacrifice, as well as some other effects to sacrifice our creatures to help out Sephiroth, since otherwise we only get the 1 sacrifice effect from attacking and sacking another creature. So one of the key cards in this archetype is Bartolome, which can sacrifice another creature or artifact at will to pick up a +1/+1 counter. So then if we have enough other creatures to sacrifice, we can transform Sephiroth even at instant speed. We also have Zahur. This one is limited to sacrificing 1 creature per turn, and then we also have other sacrifice effects built into our removal spells, with Annihilating Glare, sacrificing a creature or artifact as an additional cost to destroy a creature or planeswalker. Can also just cast it for 5 mana. The reason I'm playing Annihilating Glare over Eaten Alive, which exiles an opposing creature or planeswalker, is that Glare destroying a creature will actually enable Sephiroth, so then sacrificing our own 1-drop and taking out an opposing creature already gives us 2 sacrifice triggers from Sephiroth, so then we just need 2 more to transform it. And then we also have the Dusk Rose Reliquary, which can answer opposing artifacts or creatures, so this can also be an answer to a Steel Cutter, for instance. And then Corrupted Conviction can sacrifice a creature to draw 2 at instant speed, so it can also help cycle through the deck. Then our sacrifice fodder at 1 mana includes Nesting Bot, another Start Your Engines card, so that can also synergize with Zahur. We've got Infestation Sage, which leaves behind a Flying Insect token, and then we also have 2 Link Breakers, leaving behind a Mercenary token. So these 1-drops aren't flashy, but they are important to enable our removal spells and our sacrifice effects, which will draw more cards. And then we also have the Vengeful Blood Witch, as well as the Sadistic Pilgrim, which can also drain the opponent when our creatures die. The Pilgrim also just a nice 2/2 with Death Touch. And we also have some Graveyard Recursion, since we'll be sacrificing a lot of our creatures, so then we can bring them back with either Dewdrop Cure or Erase the Past, which can get back all creature cards with mana value 2 or less from our graveyard to the battlefield, so it can be incredibly powerful if our graveyard's already stacked up. Now these won't be able to get back Sephiroth, but everything else is fair game. And then the mana base also improved slightly with Starting Town, since this deck often needs black mana in the early turns, but if we want to cast Erase the Past, it's double white, so we can use all the untapped dual lands we can get our hands on. So now we've got Starting Town alongside Courtyard, Caves, and the Bleachbone Verge with a couple basics. So yeah, that's our deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Okay, we're on the play. We have a reasonable hand. We've got our Starting Town, which can cast Nesting Bots and then maybe Conviction on 2. Not too dissimilar to Caves of Koilos, but this deck could use the extra mana fixing, since we need lots of black mana, but also double white for cards like Raise the Past. Okay, so now Nesting Bots keep up Corrupted Conviction, get our speed up. And then Annihilating Glare, also a good way to enable Sephiroth multiple times in 1 turn. Opponent on a Landfall deck with Analyst filling the graveyard. And we see Tifa as one of the payoffs. So we'll save our Annihilating Glare for cards like Tifa. Hope to find lane 3. Not quite. Alright, so then I probably Conviction. Sank the bots. And then I can still play Bartholomew. So we'll be able to do some damage with Sephiroth next turn. At 3 mana we could see Nissa as another landfall payoff. Demolition Field goes for starting town, sure. Probably would have picked Concealed Courtyard. And then they still have black mana for Vine Lasher. Another good payoff for a landfall deck. Alright, a land enters tapped, so let's see if we can maybe find an untapped land with Sephiroth. We cannot. Alright, so I'll wait to sack stuff until next turn, since now we've only enabled this once. But then next turn we should be able to go off and transform this into the one-winged angel, assuming it survives, but we have a backup. Because yeah, with Erase the Past, we can go off next turn as well. For now, Bristly Bill, play a land. We probably don't even need to attack to win this game. Tifa is pretty scary, so that's potentially worth removing with Annihilating Glare. Alright, so where do we begin? So enters or attacks. We can sack a creature to draw. Could also remove Bristly Bill, to be fair. But yeah, if our opponent sacks the Analyst, they get 2 lands back already. So pretty scared of Tifa more than Bristly Bill. So then, yeah, let's see. I can play Blood Witch. Play another Nesting Bot. And Glare. Taking out Tifa. So since we're destroying a creature and not exiling it, we get another Sephiroth trigger. Sephiroth can attack. Sack the Nesting Bot. Can see if they want to block. But either way I'm gonna transform here, so we got 3 more damage in this way. So that's the 4th trigger. Sephiroth transforms. I guess I could have done that before damage, since yeah, it doesn't remove it from combat. So I missed out on 2 damage, but I think we'll survive. And then next turn with Erase the Past, we shouldn't have any difficulty closing out the game. GG's. Can jump and sacrifice, since next turn Raise the Past will bring it back anyway. But this is already lethal on the board. And that'll do it. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with keepable hands. Got our sacrifice fodder, sacrifice engine, can draw with Conviction and Sephiroth, facing red-white. Mana's good too. And a fear of missing out, so maybe a Reanimator deck. And just discarded a land. So for now, play Zahir. I'm not in a hurry to sacrifice stuff. Next turn Sephiroth hopefully survives a turn, so we can attempt to transform it on turn 4. We'll get a sacrifice from Zahir, one from the attack, another from Conviction, so then I just need one more sacrifice effect. Ooh, Sheltered by Ghosts. That's a rough one. Cannot sacrifice itself. So is this an aura deck? Can hit for 1, sack the Sage to Sephiroth. And then we probably need to find removal. And get lost, answer Sephiroth. And there's another one. Okay. So we keep cycling through the deck in the hopes of finding one of our 6 answers. In terms of Delirium, there's land, instant, enchantment. And they might be adding a 4th type. And we see Terra, also a good enabler for Delirium. And another Get Lost, that's painful. So they get to gain 6. And next turn with Double Fear, they can get a lot of attack steps in. So, what's the plan? I might have to main phase just Conviction, see if I can find an answer. Might want to explore first, just to dig a card deeper, because then I'll still have the mana to Conviction, draw into a 1 mana answer, and pay the ward. And that's an answer. And then I guess I can attack all out now, since I don't want to chump with a 2-2. I guess I can also sacrifice a token, an artifact token that is, to the Duskro's Reliquary itself. So that helps. And get Zahir back. We are now at max speed, so if I sack I make a zombie. Although it's only when a non-token dies. Another Sheltered by Ghosts, of course. Goes for the Reliquary instead. Get the Fear back. Oh, in that case I can block now at least. And we see Summon Knights of Round, so this is likely a Yuna deck, which will be able to bring back the Saga. Take my turn, and there's another Sephiroth. So we've gotten our fair share. So token attacks, play probably Nesting Bot and Sage, and then Sephiroth. And then Zahir could also attack if I really wanted to. But it's maybe not a bad idea to leave some blockers back. Because we're not going to win this game with 3 extra damage. We either win it by a landslide or we don't. Could draw into a removal spell, which I did. Okay. So now I should be able to transform Sephiroth with Annihilating Glare. Sacrificing a creature. Wouldn't be able to target the one with a Sheltered by Ghost, but that's okay. So I do need to sack a creature for this to work. So that's the 3rd trigger. And then Zahir can make it 4. And we get our emblem. Zahir can get in the way of Fear of Missing Out. And Joshua is next instead. And our opponent discarded Yuna, so they might have another one in hand since they were just missing land 5. So we need to make this next turn count. And with a Blood Witch and a Cure, we might be able to. So I can bring back 3 creatures. We don't have Bartolome, but we can sack a whole bunch of stuff to Sephiroth. So that's the plan here. Cure, gift a card. And then do I play the nesting bots? I guess I do. And sack all of this stuff, which will also make zombies with Zahir. Get a bunch of triggers from the Blood Witch. And from the emblem. Points at 11, and then Zahir can still activate if I'd like. And then I guess we're still gonna deal 5. Keep the Annihilating Glare. Bones at 2. So yeah, now I can just activate Zahir at instant speed, which triggers Blood Witch and Sephiroth, so that should be game. Wow, what a game. Yeah, that was a pretty epic fight. And Sephiroth showed up big. 3 times, in fact. Sweet, on to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with a keepable hand. I've got Conviction to draw a little bit further into the deck, hopefully find Sephiroth. And Speak of the Devil. So turn 1, probably start with nesting bots. Opponent black-red. Maybe goblins. Could lose a Blood Witch to the headliner. So I could just go Infestation Sage. Keep up Corrupted Conviction. Get our speed up. So it is a Mardu deck. Now the Pack Beasts. Can take to the skies with the insect token. And then Sephiroth has to be the play now. And then next turn I might be able to transform it. Although we could take quite the beating. Opponent's got their own Sephiroth. Yeah, that makes sense. Opponent gets 4 tokens, which will all die end of turn, so that also transforms Sephiroth. At least I get to either take out the Pack Beasts or the Headliner. What makes more sense? Maybe double blocking Pack Beasts. And then at least we have removal to answer the opponent's Sephiroth once it transforms. But yeah, this is gonna hurt. So yeah, if you're looking for unique ways to transform Sephiroth, this is definitely one of them. At least they cancel each other out to an extent. And yeah, I guess we also get to transform ours. Didn't think of that, but makes sense. Okay, so we have 2 creatures in graveyards. This is definitely a reliquary turn. So Blood Witch plus reliquary. Could also play another nesting bot first. Don't think I need to reliquary the headliner necessarily. So yeah, the Sephiroth mirror match is quite the sight to behold. Attack. Yeah, we'll sack maybe 2 of these. If Blood Witch dies, we can raise the past it back, so next turn I can maybe sacrifice it. So as the dust settles, our opponent's at 7, with just a headliner in play. They do have a go for the throat to answer Sephiroth, but the damage has been done. Opponents maybe sacking the headliner, but we'll make them spend the mana. And of course we have an emblem here, so that persists even without Sephiroth in play. So let's see here. Can attack. Opponents using the headliner now, but that's not going to take out our insect since they don't have any creatures left in play, so they had to use it last turn. And then now I can just raise the past. It's probably good enough. And just play this for the sake of triggering our stuff. And our opponent scoops it up. Awesome. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with a fine hand. Plenty of sacrifice fodder to set up Sephiroth. Blast Zone could be an indication that our opponent's on a colorless deck with a new Ultima to double your colorless mana. I guess we could start with a nesting bots and get our speed up. Yeah, still colorless so far, and the UFO a great way to ramp on turn 2. So yeah, if our opponent gets to cast Ugin, we're gonna be in trouble, so we need to be off to a quick start. So let's see, if I play Bartolome this turn and next turn Sephiroth, I still only have 2 creatures I actively want to sacrifice. So I think we still play Pilgrim first. And then next turn I'm probably still playing Sephiroth. And then the Infestation Sage will give us more things to sacrifice. So for now, can attack. I guess we have to watch out for the UFO's ability, since they do have a town on the battlefield. But yeah, UFO puts in an extra land. Next turn they could already play Ultima. Although now we've got an answer, so that makes me feel a little bit safer. Can also remove planeswalkers like Ugin. And there's another town, Eden, seat of the Sanctum. And yeah, there's Ultima. So that's a must answer. But we've got a few ways to do so. So what's my sequence? So Annihilating Glare provides 2 Sephiroth triggers. And then attacking is 1 more. But I'll still need Bartolome to transform here. So that's what we'll do. Play the Sage. And Bartolome. And most importantly, Annihilating Glare. Our opponent could still cast Ugin next turn if they have a land to put in play with a UFO and another one in hand. So we can still easily lose to it. I guess a flyer doesn't make a huge difference. Hope they block Sephiroth, because then I get to transform it at instant speed to eat the UFO. So that's the 4th time it triggered. Now they can still activate the UFO on the way out, but the fact that they didn't means they're out of lanes in hand. So we're not in danger of facing Ugin next turn. And now with our one-winged angel, it shouldn't be too difficult to cross the finish line. Play the Blood Witch. And attack. Could sacrifice more than one creature, but Blood Witch should be enough. Get to max speed as well, for what it's worth. Yeah, opponent had a fine start, but Sephiroth doing a lot of work here. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw with Keeper. Might need some more card draw effects, but for now we've got a nice sacrifice engine, a painless mana base, facing red-white, and nothing so far. Sephiroth, a nice pickup, so can hit for 1. Play Blood Witch. Could have also gone for Zahur to get our engine started. But the plan is Sephiroth next turn, so we can start draining with the Blood Witch. Opponent is on an equipment deck. Alright, so important to have some interaction. Want to make them spend some resources equipping their creature before we destroy it. But we'll see what Cloud searches up. There's some equipment that might trigger multiple times with the ability as well, so we have to be careful. And it's going to be a Soul Cleaver. Okay, so for now, I kind of like Sephiroth. Can also attack first. So then next turn with Zahur and another attack, plus maybe Annihilating Glare, we might be able to transform Sephiroth already. Opponent equips Cloud. So that might grow. Oh no, Rebel Salvo takes out Sephiroth, unfortunately. So I don't get to transform it. Cloud grows, and I'll take 4. Alright, so now it's probably Zahur plus a Glare. And get our speed up as well. And at least the +1 counters don't stay on the equipment somehow. So their progress has been reset. So currently have just 1 creature to return with Raise the Past, but the ones in play could also potentially come back. And now Firion can potentially make a copy of an equipment, but they're just going to suit it up with a Soul Cleaver. And then equipped creatures have haste, so they could attack, but I'm happy to trade. Yeah, the Soul Cleaver is pretty good against a Sacrifice deck, to be honest. Now the Pilgrim, so I can play it and then attack. And now they might take the trade. They don't. Well, the Pilgrim can just trade on the way back, but they might have something else planned. A Sword of Wealth and Power. They trigger the ability, so they can now equip it essentially for free, since it gets a 2-mana discount. Protection from instants and sorceries. They're gonna suit it up twice, but we do have a 2/2 Death Touch on defense, so... happy to trade. Trigger Blood Witch. Reliquary also answers an artifact, potentially. And then now we'll get our speed to 4, so we'll be at max speed. So yeah, could be worthwhile to now raise the past after we sack to Zahur, or I could sack something to the Reliquary as well. I guess I could do both. So yeah, first sack the Blood Witch. And then play the Reliquary. And then raise the past. So now we can activate Zahur one more time. Which triggers both Pilgrim and Blood Witch. And sure, we can keep that one on top. So at 1 life, they need some life gain to come back. Kellen might have been able to search up some life gain equipment, but they don't have the mana to set it up here. And I guess Zahur could also activate in their turn at instant speed. So we had it all along. Alright, GG's. Bane Splitter flashed in. And that'll do it. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the draw. This hand's lacking some card draw. We've got the Sacrifice Fodder and some removal. So depending on the matchup, this could be alright. But I really need Corrupted Conviction and eventually Sephiroth. I'll try it. We're on the draw, so we get to see an extra card. Turn 1 Llanowar Elves. Start with maybe the Nesting Bot. I guess in hindsight, given that we have the Plains in hand, I probably should have played a black 1-drop. World Wagon I can exile with the Reliquary, so that works out. And there's Sephiroth, so if we hit our 3rd land drop, we're in great shape. Could double remove, but I think we just keep the Glare for something bigger. And then for now, just go Sage, a Reliquary, the World Wagon. Make a Flying Insect. And attack. So going back to our turn 1 play, we did get our speed up in the meantime, but I might have been able to play the Link Breaker, and then it would have been easier to play Nesting Bot plus Glare next turn. Traveling Chocobo, we found the lanes, so that's perfect. So now I can play Sephiroth, probably sacking the Nesting Bot, and then the insect can still attack. So then next turn, we should be able to transform Sephiroth if they don't mess with it. Since double Glare sacking 2 creatures is enough. That's why I'm playing Glare over Eaten Alive. since Eaten Alive exiles an opposing creature, which would not trigger Sephiroth. But we'll see. Opponent gets to cast a 6-drop here. And a Burst Lightning kicked will take care of it. Sure, I could trade for the Llanowar Elves, I suppose. A Link Breaker, deal with the Chocobo. And then the Mercenary can also pump the Insect if needed. But yeah, now we need more card draw to close out the game. Another Sephiroth. Raise the Past is looking good. Corrupted Conviction would be fine. Zahur with max speed also pretty decent. The Agonosaur needs to go. So we can first pump and then sacrifice, or I guess I can just play this for the full price. But yeah, the opponent's late game is probably going to be more powerful. A good way to enable Landfall multiple times in one turn. Alright, you drop Cure. Cannot get back Sephiroth, but can get back a whole bunch of 1-drops. I might still want to wait on it, since getting back a Link Breaker, Nesting Bot, and Sage isn't all that exciting at the moment. We might draw into some more powerful 2-drops. Ooh, Mossborn Hydra, that's a problem. And a Trample, so it's not like I can chump block it easily. Yeah, we might be dead here. Alright, I guess it's time to play the Cure. I don't think I even gift a card. Just get back Sage and Nesting Bots. Opponent's got a Burst Lightning. So now my only hope is chaining together some card draw, assuming I'm not just dead here. And yeah, now we're super dead. On to the next one. Okay, we're on the play. And seems functional, could use some more sacrifice and draw effects. But we can maybe just chump opposing creatures and make some trades. For now, can maybe save myself the damage from starting town. Turn 1 Chocobo. Play Pilgrim. And we're happy to make trades. So we'll see if they're a bird deck or a Landfall deck. Fungus, so not entirely clear. Probably more of a Landfall deck. I mean, I could also take the hit for now, play Blood Witch, and then maybe make some trades. So they appear to be mono-green, and Sephiroth was an amazing draw. So you can start there. Corrupted Conviction gives us another cheap way to sacrifice a creature next turn. So the sequencing might be Blood Witch, sack to Conviction, attack, sacking another creature. So then we're not too far from transforming Sephiroth. If we find a removal spell, we could do it. Spring Bloom can enable Landfall twice. We'll see if they hang back with the Chocobo. If they don't. Alright, Zahur gives us another sacrifice outlet. Although we're running maybe low on creatures to sacrifice. So, what's step 1? Step 1's probably to attack. Do I play the Blood Witch? I don't think I do, since I might need my mana elsewhere. So we'll sack the token. Find a nesting bot, so that should do it now. Opponent takes it. So we can play nesting bot. Sack it to Conviction. Play Zahur. Sacrifice. I guess another Sephiroth isn't a bad draw. Ooh, never mind. I guess we can only activate this once, so I was one off. Maybe should not have sacked the token. Yeah, it's not quite Bartolome, where we can activate it multiple times. Reliquary could have sacked one more creature. And now we're taking quite the beating from the Chocobo. But our opponent's at 4, so it's not like our last turn wasn't effective. 2 creatures in graveyard at the moment. Can add a few more before we raise the past. Can sack Pilgrim to Zahur, sack Zahur to the Reliquary, and then raise the past everything back. And I don't think we're at risk of dying. Another Spring Bloom second main. Take my turn. And then I will stick to the plan. Can also just attack, of course. But yeah, let's do it this way. Can win without attacking. Everything's back. And then Zahur can sacrifice another creature, Sephiroth can attack and sacrifice one more, get to transform it, and that's game. So we got to see this black-white sacrifice deck in action, and yeah, color me impressed. Sephiroth did a ton of work for us, drawing cards, draining the opponent, and eventually closing out the game as well, so it kinda does it all. Now, it's not a 2-drop, so we cannot get it back with Raise the Past, so those 2 cards are a little bit at odds, but I think Raise the Past still deserves a place in this deck, since it gives us a way to kinda go over the top in the mid to late game, once a lot of our creatures already died. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's gameplay. Wanna thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a nice day.